All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Town of Cedar Lake Stormwater Board meeting on October 11th. We're going to get things started here today with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Wendy, can you please start the roll call?
Ryan Leesak.
Here.
Patrick Conlon.
Here.
Benji Kinchlow.
Here.
Don Oliphant.
Here.
Chris Salatas.
Present.
Eric Bosma.
Here.
Robert Carnahan, not here. And Wendy Schultz.
All right. In reviewing the minutes from the September 13th meeting of this year, I make a motion to approve the minutes. Can I get a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, Ryan Leesak.
Yes.
Patrick Conlon.
Yes.
Benji Kinchlow.
Yes.
All right, getting into old business, we have drainage issues at 9080 West 129th.
So this is the parcel off 129th Place. We got approval to move forward with it last meeting. Public Works has been a little busy with some excavation projects that we've had kind of going over the last month, so it's on our list. Will it get done this year? It's going to be tight. Most likely going to be done by Public Works or PGX, would be my guess.
Yeah, I spoke to him about that last week. He said
Yeah.
so.
Should be a relatively easy project to install. It's all going to be, I think, plastic pipe, so it's going to go in pretty quick.
Okay.
We have to do a quick not redesign, just kind of move the alignment off that middle parcel we can get easement off, but that's easy.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep that on old business and discuss it for the next meeting. Update items. Chuck Becker at 7513 West 136th Avenue.
No updates, this will be pending just based on the budget sheet you had in front of you, and it'll be a next year project, pending money. And we'll provide a priority list of projects that we have in the hopper for next meeting based on this this budget sheet as well. So start deciding what we can do next year. That'll be a part of it.
Okay. In regards to the budget sheet, do we want to talk about that as far as
We
where
can go
it's
into
at?
that closer under new business after
Okay.
Monastery South.
Okay. Moving forward on to item B, Schubert and Dodge Street.
Kind of same thing, longer term project. Once we get everything figured out, it's not on the back burner, but it's not one of the priorities right now.
Yeah.
Okay. How about our dear friends at Woods of Cedar Creek?
That kind of falls under the Becker item, where it'll most likely be a next year project if we have funding for it. And once we get into the phase of it being chosen, we still need to figure out all the easements.
Okay. Moving on to Julian Gibbons, 6425 West 145th Street.
You want to take this one, Rick?
No, we realigned and dug the ditch across the street, found the culvert pipe again going across the street to her property, and then the whole bottom of that pipe is gone.
Oh, wow.
It's corrugated metal, so,
Expected.
yeah. So I think it's gonna have to be replaced, and then probably the pipe coming out of that basin going to,
South?
yeah,
Southwest, yeah.
yeah,
Because there's a gap somewhere where they had trouble getting
yeah.
up the pipe. So there's likely a blowing joint somewhere.
Okay. So total replacement, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
At least for that. We know there's something, there is a newer system in there.
Yeah.
Right now, based on how far the camera can get up, we're not exactly sure where
Yeah.
where it stops. So we're still kind of waiting on to get the final cammering of the line, and then also what kind of legal right of access we have to do any repairs. That's still kind of the outstanding item. When that was put in, if they obtain any easements, I don't know.
Okay.
So it's kind of on hold, awaiting the answers to those two questions, really.
Okay. I spoke to the builder, or one of the builders, or whoever was building a house, and he asked us what it was we were doing over there. I told him we were cleaning the ditch out. He said they were gonna do it, but he told me that the town told him that he was not allowed to put that, driveway right there, because that's technically a roadway, he said, so he
Well, yeah,
didn't
that's
try to
LN.
go around.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a paper right away heading north.
So, I don't know what type of issue they may have in the future, because I know there's a culvert pipe underneath where they originally put the driveway, and then there's another culvert pipe on the new spot of the driveway,
Either way, he's gonna need a driveway culvert,
so.
wherever his driveway ends up being, because that area to the northeast kind of drains through this
He's
corridor.
got one now under the gravel, but it's so high.
It's not really doing much.
Yeah, so with the way the ditch was already established there, it's way high, so.
I mean, when he submits for as-built, we'll catch it then.
Okay.
And then I imagine it's not gonna look too hot, so we'll make him replace it.
Yeah.
Talk to me after the meeting about this one.
Okay.
So yeah, the biggest things are to get the cammering done, and that's even going up the southeast leg too. There's two lines. One goes in the rear of her parcel, one goes kind of on a diagonal northeast, and then under 145th. So we need them both figured out. Figure out exactly where the alignment is, and B, the condition of them. And then C, if we need to get in there and do any repairs to them, we need to know if we have access rights, which is still unknown.
But the one going across 145th into her property needs to be replaced.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And then there's that one farther down.
Yep.
That's starting to do the same thing, so.
So if we'll get into public comment, you'll have a chance. As far as, timeline of everything, if we're to approve it, to vote on it.
We have to go back out there and finish Cameron, and that should be good. I didn't even want to jet that culvert pipe out, because I don't even know if the jetter will even fit in there. Because the opening's smashed in. Like, I don't know if it's been ran over the years from garbage trucks or whatever, but
He took the camera from
he went the opposite way.
the opposite way from like the southwest up, and he still hit a problem, right? Which is weird, because that's the newest part of the pipe.
Yeah.
So, I'm betting it's a prior generation HDPE, that's single walled and pretty brittle, and if you don't connect those joints right, they're gonna go pretty wrong. So, the biggest thing's gonna be access though, because this thing's clearly outside of the right of way.
Okay.
Minus the 145th section, but once we get into the corner of her parcel and then we start getting into her rear, unless something was figured out with that lawsuit, supposed lawsuit, 15, 20 years ago, there's nothing. It might have been recorded, we can go by the county and double check it, but I doubt it. It would have carried with the deed and the lot, but that's a shot in the dark, and most likely not gonna return anything. It's something in town records that could be buried somewhere, who knows where in this building.
Yeah.
I don't know if town attorney was involved in it, we can try to run it through him, see if he has any recollection.
Yeah.
There's a variety of different routes that we can try to find a needle in a haystack, if it exists. So, if it doesn't exist, then we're gonna need to figure out exactly where the pipe falls on the property and then basically get an easement in order to maintain it. In the perfect world, there would have been one, but I don't know. So, we can get pretty far on cammering and getting the existing condition of it, but after that, we really can't take steps to do repairs unless we find something that's existing or make something that's proposed and signed off on by the homeowner.
Okay.
so it's still got some steps.
Yeah, so as far as,
Next month, we may have some ideas about the cameraing. I think we should, just figure out exactly where it's at, condition.
Yeah,
From there, we may have an idea about where we wanna go, but if it's any kind of rehab or maintenance on it, we're gonna get snagged there.
I gotta get with the sewer department, and we have to spend, cause we got some other stuff that we need to camera too as well, so I need to get with those two and maybe make a day of it so we can camera that and then camera some other stuff that we need to get done as well.
gotcha.
There's another pipe down the street that needs to be ripped out too, on 145th.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep it on there, and if there's any way that we can fast track it, I think that'd be the best foot forward, but I know there's a lot of steps that have to be taken in order to get that done, so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when the plants shut down for the hot mix, isn't that's like November anyway, right?
Around Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So,
They got the work and they got the weather, they'll stay open, but
yeah, that's something to think about too as well.
Yeah.
otherwise you're cold patching for the winter.
Yeah.
All right, keep that on update items. Moving on to Public Works project. Is there any updates regarding Jeff Bungy's property?
He's done.
He's done?
As of today, yes. I hope, but yeah.
So what took place? He's proud of this accomplishment.
We are. We used his pipe. We ended up, they kept insisting it was at the main again, and they came out and located it yesterday morning, and it was like 2 feet either way from where we were gonna put the pipe, so we dug it slowly, so.
Carefully,
Yeah.
cautiously.
I mean, it only got like halfway from like where the ditch was gonna be put anyway, so as soon as we got past that point, then we were able to get the ditch to flow downhill, so.
Okay, good.
But his pipe's in, he's got a, paved driveway.
Awesome.
But we put riprap down too on the one side, so it would flow better, and there was mud, because today it was raining, we finished it up today, it was raining, so the water was running, and it was running the mud into the pipe too, so.
Well, awesome, that's great news. Congratulations, Ed.
Yeah, he should be ecstatic that it's done, so.
Good. All right, so we take that off. Moving on to 9402 West 141st Place.
We have yet to look at that. That's either gonna be camera or jetted. I'm tempted on jetting it, but we got this new jetter, the tip that Tony bought, and it's like, looks like a rocket, so, but I don't know how far.
Problem with that is I don't know,
I know.
you can do it from the downstream end, but I don't know where it's gonna go.
I mean,
It's not
we have done
connected
it
well, it's
before,
gonna create a
and
sinkhole.
It will start shooting water out.
Yeah,
I mean, we would have to really go slow with that, but.
yeah, I would camera it if
But that would be
it's a CMP though, I think, on the downstream end, so good luck.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of condition it is under the road.
Oh, all right. We just paved that too, so.
Yeah. Maybe
But I know there's-
that one has a bottom.
Yeah, well, there's a problem coming out too of that subdivision. Somebody else recently called in and the pipe was buried. So we went there and unburied it for now, and then we gotta go back and dig it out on 141st.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if this is something we're gonna have to keep our eye on for maybe if other residents might start calling in too, so. Cause we had the one lady on the one side, now we got
It's all old
the
CMP
other
back
on the other
there.
side,
Yep.
now they're, so.
Old CMP and old infrastructure,
Yeah,
period.
keep that
back
on
there.
your radar, Ryan, cause that might be something else we might,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the cross culverts at 141st were bad.
yeah.
Both of them were. I think there's some other random stuff throughout that subdivision, but that subdivision's old,
Yeah,
so.
Okay, we'll keep that on
Okay.
there for Public Works Projects update next time. Moving on to new business, we have Monastery South water issues sent in by Kevin Coe. And everyone has pictures too, which is amazing. It's good to be here in the 21st century. This is great. So, Don, did you have a chance to review this?
Did.
So where that transformer box is should there be a structure there, a storm structure? Because everything's swaled right towards it.
This is a high point, actually.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good, thank you.
So this is an as-built we have from 2016. Here's the B parcel,
Okay, so he's close.
it's lot 268, so it's actually a high point. So actually, for an older, well, not older subdivision, this is 2006, 07, 08. It actually has inlet not too far away, and it's my understanding that some of these are slabs and one or two of them might have basements, not 100% sure. So if there aren't basements, then you don't have the nuisance flow, which is good, and we're just dealing with surface flow. You can see the inlets aren't too far away. If you go from the center line of the B parcel, it's about 120 feet to the west to structure 2.6, and then about 75-ish feet to the southeast to get to structure 3-24. So he's right in between them, and if you look at the survey, at least the 18 contours, he's at kind of a high point. It's not a well-defined high point, but you can see exactly where the other two structures are, just based on the circular contours. He's this guy. So Tim has been out there. He thinks he can get it to flow with, a couple yards of dirt. Mr. Toth doesn't think that. He seems to remember talking to Tim. I talked to Tim this afternoon. He still thinks it can flow. So I still need to go check it out in person. But from just an office research standpoint, I mean, this is better than most of these 05, 06, 07 subdivisions where we didn't have inlets, more than 300 feet away. Which really warranted a catch basin, to kind of split that gap. Whereas this one, we're not near as far away, and I think a lot of these are slabs. That was some of the bigger problems we're having with other subdivisions. This technically actually meets current standards. I think our 300 feet is our minimum distance, our minimum distance between. We're talking 120 the most. So I hope we're just talking about bellies in some areas. That can be mitigated. I don't really want to put a manhole in what should be a high point. So, long story short, I need to go check it out with Tim. We got plenty of dirt in this town right now. If it can be mitigated with dirt and landscaping, I'd rather do that versus putting in, 100 feet of pipe in a structure.
Yeah.
Because you can see the transformers in those pictures, which means there's a whole bunch of utilities back there probably, which we also don't want to get into. So, I need to get eyes on it. Pictures don't show a whole lot. I know he said it's just a little mushy at their feet, but, we'll look at it. So, if anyone's got questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, even between lot 269 on the corner and 260, there's a transformer that's even, like if you look at the second photo, that's even lower than the one, I guess, near lot B,
That's been the problems with a lot of these. As-built weren't necessarily a thing in vogue back in 07 and 08, especially for rear yard drainage.
Well, I guess all I'm saying is it looks like in that second photo, from the transformer on the right
Mm-hmm.
to the storm structure 3.3-24, that's,
Certainly looks lower.
yeah.
Well, the other thing, you can't really correct that with a manhole probably, because there's probably electrical coming out of that.
Exactly. I mean, what are you gonna do, raise the power utility up when you?
Yeah,
up? I mean, just.
You can see telephone pedestals back there too, and this
But how
is
many
probably a
do
hot
you
mess
need
of.
that transformer?
Yeah, they
Line
had
dirt.
something fight off over in that area one day, and there was flies galore.
Yeah.
That's
We-
sad.
We had a similar incident in Monastery North like this, in the back, with all the utilities and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
running the same way.
And this is one reason that they don't like running in the rear, more mainly for access, but a lot of the newer subdivisions run them in the front now.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily have this problem with those, but those also have our newer stormwater guidelines, so we don't have these issues anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really don't wanna put in a structure, cause I think it would just be messy. So if we can somehow correct this with Bill, I'd really go that route.
I mean, yeah, it looks like a beautiful yard. I mean, they do really keep good care of their.
Yeah, that's the other thing, these guys, these sprinklers are on all the time.
And they're all on together.
Yeah,
Whether
So-
it rains or not. Yep.
it's very lush out there, I'll give them that, but they also don't need to run them that much either.
Another
Start
question
bringing
is how many,
machines in
how
there,
many
it's
more
gonna destroy
roads
all
are gonna be
that.
like this?
Well, that's the other thing too, which means they got sprinkler heads all over the place back
Yeah.
there. So we're gonna have to fight those as well to put in, you know, one little thing, so.
Well, then you're gonna have multiple, like, areas like this all over.
Yeah, and then you're gonna correct them all.
Yep.
I don't think this is a major problem if, you know, a line is a little spongy, especially if they don't have sump pumps. But we'll look at it.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, I haven't gone over there and looked at it yet either.
No. And like I said, I think a lot of these are slabs, but Tim thought one or two might be on basements, so.
I think the only one that might have a basement is the one by the lake.
Okay.
It's like a double decker.
Well, good, that means they have an easy gravity outlet into the
Yeah.
lake for their
Yeah.
sump then. So, I mean, we have connection points, which is good, prefer not to get into it, but we will check it out.
Yep, check it out. I agree with you. Minimally invasive as much as you can without actually digging anything. And I don't, at the end of the day, there's some things that are the town's responsibilities and some things that aren't. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how this
This
we
is
justify.
dabbling.
Yes, so if we can do a minimal public works project with a skid steer and a couple of yards of dirt, great, and they're happy. But this will be an ongoing issue if they're gonna continue to water like they have. If they had some kind of landscaping in the back there,
Mm-hmm.
there would be a lot more, there's a lot better issues to make this, mitigate the water issues that they're having right now versus.
I mean, based on the rims of those two structures, we can get grade.
Okay.
I mean, if the 18 contours aren't lying to me, I mean, we've got 1.5 to 2 feet of fall.
Oh, okay, good.
So, I mean, it's looking like 767.5, and if we're on the same datum, those are at 765.85 and 765.77, so we can get a foot of fall. Over 120 feet and 75 feet, that should be plenty.
Yeah.
It's kind of our minimum standard of 1%. So, we'll check it out and report back next month.
Sounds good.
This weather should be a good test of it.
Today and tomorrow?
Nice gentle downpour.
All right, yeah, keep that on a update item for next time. All right, moving on to public comment. Now, when you come up to the podium, please say your name and your address and what's going on in your life.
You wanna go, sir? You need to go first? Ladies first. I don't remember, you gotta say, okay, come up here, what do you do? Hi, Julie Gibbons, 6425 West 145th Avenue. Is next month's sewer meeting on a Monday instead of a Tuesday?
We did move it.
Town utility board meeting is Tuesday at 6:30.
Okay, 'cause me and Lori were in the parking lot last Friday of the board meeting that happened on Tuesday, 'cause I got the date screwed up.
You don't have any board meetings.
On Friday.
No, we know that now. We were there by ourselves, and then she said, well, I wondered why it was on a Friday, and I'm like, well, I don't know, that's what the paper said. And she said, it's usually every second Tuesday. I said, well, you could have mentioned that to me like Monday, and maybe I could have double checked, and we wouldn't have been these two idiots sitting in this parking lot going, where are these people? So, okay, so Monday, it is the Monday.
Tuesday.
No, that's the next meeting.
Well, are you talking about stormwater or utility?
I'm talking about you guys.
Yeah, okay, it is changed next month. What is it next month?
Sorry, you were saying sewer utility, and that is a
Well-
different board.
I'm here for this, you know what I'm here for. I don't care about nothing
Yeah,
else.
So Wendy, confirm it's the 14th?
November 14th next month.
Okay, so it is a Monday, so when she questions
We
me
can
about
work
it.
around,
Election.
Well, I thought it was in the holiday, and I thought, hey, but I wasn't sure. Because it would kill me if we end up here again by ourselves in this parking lot. Okay, so I'm assuming the front problem with the drain coming across that you're saying needs to be replaced. And then the road's gonna come up too, and you're trying to get this all done before the asphalt don't stick no more.
After, if it's deemed the best way to go about once the cameras are done. Correct me if I'm wrong, sorry.
We could replace the culvert pipe, but raising the road
No.
is gonna be a whole different.
Road's not gonna change.
Yeah.
We'll have to cut into it a little bit to get the pipe out and put a new one in, but the road profile will stay.
Yeah. And
Okay, but there's a chunk of the road there that's all broke up,
yeah.
and it slopes
that would
down.
be-
That's a larger scope,
Yeah,
not privy to this board either.
no, we would just cut the road up, pull the old pipe out, put a new pipe back in, fill it with rock, and then either hot mix if we could get it, or we would end up putting cold patch in it, just temporary until asphalt plant open. That road has no plan on being,
I'm not talking about ripping the whole road up, but there's about 5 feet or
yeah,
so
that is not
where that
our. That
pipe
would
is.
be street department, you would have to call actually Wendy at Public Works and have them come out and. they would
Hi,
have to
Wendy.
Either maybe cold patch it or toll patch it or.
And they're unfortunately well aware of the issues on that road that need to be repaired.
I think you've been down.
I have
personally,
Yeah,
so.
and the town council president, it's on everybody's radar.
Okay, 'cause it's a problem, that water sits there for 3-4 days, it don't go
Yeah.
away unless I take a squeegee out there and squeegee it off, and every car that comes by hits it and puts it on my driveway, and winter's coming, and that means my driveway is a sheet of ice all winter long. That ain't cool.
I understand.
Yes.
So, are we thinking the tubes getting replaced this year?
That I couldn't say yet, I mean, possibly, I mean, we are pretty backed up right now, so.
Maybe.
Well, it
Problem is,
doesn't.
it's probably not gonna help you. It makes you be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause now it's, yeah, you're right.
that kinda has to be done in conjunction with us evaluating the rest of the system as it cuts through your northwest property and then goes under, not Colfax, but,
Flooring bills.
Cause if it's
Wheeler,
moving that much water.
Yeah, and we open it up. yeah.
Yeah, I thought about
It's-
that when we were cleaning that ditch out, I'm like, well, now that we're cleaning this ditch out, that water's gonna have no
Well,
way
but
of
the thing
slowing down.
is, and we haven't had a monsoon yet,
Not
then
yet.
I will definitely keep updated on this
Yeah.
status. But that thing is so big, you could bury all our bodies in there and nobody'd ever find them. So I doubt if that much water is gonna accumulate in there, because it used to be only this deep and this wide.
Yeah.
And so when it filled that up and then it didn't go down the tube, then the whole road flooded.
Yeah.
But with that thing as big as it is now, then that's a lot of water, man.
Yeah, we
They
made
would
sure that we.
fill that thing up.
We made sure we widened it as well, so the water has somewhere to.
I mean, at
We
least
sit
it'll
until
sit
it- yeah,
and
until
absorb in the ground, hopefully.
Yeah, so the problem with ripping out the culvert on 145th is I think there's a problem downstream of that,
Yeah.
in that triangle between, like, Wheeler and 145th, before it gets to that catch basin right near your driveway,
Yeah,
the
that's.
west driveway.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem in there somewhere too, so I don't wanna open up put a new culvert under that one if we're gonna have to replace a couple feet downstream, because then we'll start getting bubbling up in your yard. I don't
I've
want
already
that.
got that in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't wanna put more stress on the system that we think has a gap in it somewhere. I wanna do it all at the same time, with
I
the
would like
preference.
to too, yeah.
Okay, so we're probably not doing it this year.
Don't say never, but maybe.
Maybe.
The camera was down for so friggin' long,
I
that
know.
and then the jetter was out and the back truck was out, so we've been delayed from that perspective, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we're gonna get cold soon. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah,
I-
well, pipe work
And I
can be
don't want
done
it
cold.
started, and then, I mean, I
No.
don't know if I got any say-so, but I'll be out there screaming at every person out there every day.
But if we do have a problem, I wanna get done before the spring
If you
shows
start this
up.
thing and then it sits for 5 or
Yeah.
6 months, then what am I supposed to do with these dogs?
No,
No.
we would start it, if we did start it next year, it would probably be,
Early.
yeah, but once the
Ground
ground
froze and all that,
And it would be
Be a quick job.
maybe a day or two,
Yeah.
unless
Okay.
there's a serious issue that we need to open up more property and bigger holes but
So are you still saying back on Lori's property and that house behind that flooded, those pipes are still, you're saying, are all crushed into my yard?
They haven't even
You know,
televised that section yet.
possibly,
They don't
we'd
know
have to get the camera in
where
there.
the camera goes.
And we don't know for a fact that you wanna go between their house and my fence?
We do.
Yeah,
Well, that's a problem, 'cause they only got 5 feet.
Well, we think the end of that pipe is pretty much on your shared property line somewhere, but we're not sure. We need to get it in there and figure it out. If we need to extend on another property for whatever reason, then we'll cross the bridge when we have to. But like I said, we need to figure out what happened with that supposed lawsuit. When these pipes went in, there should have been an easement recorded, and if there isn't, we're gonna need one from you.
I know that,
Yeah.
you told me that before.
I know, but we need to get an alignment to figure out if we need one, where it has to be. Otherwise, you're just spitting in the wind.
Well, 'cause it, you know, even if you know for sure that's where you guys are gonna dig it up, you know what I mean? Right now, this fence is gonna fall down, it's gonna blow down. It's unstable. But if I knew for a fact you guys are coming this way, following the river, because that's probably where the crushed pipes
Yeah.
are, you know. I'm not a genius, but I've been an RN for 45 years, I'm a teeny weeny bit smart. That's 3 sides of the fence, which I can then replace this side of the fence and come up to the back of the house.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause chances are, nobody's gonna be ripping off of a hill, you ain't coming down a hill and then going through my yard.
What's the problem with plastic pipe?
yeah.
It doesn't always go straight.
Yeah, but it's on this guy, my neighbor this way, he
Yeah.
ain't affected whatsoever by all this water issue.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying, if I got a piece by this fence, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
You know, so at least, you know, if you come in and you end up ripping all this fence down, then what am I supposed to do with these dogs?
Yeah. Oh, we'll put something temporary up if we do get in
But
there.
when it's temporary, aren't you gonna take your stuff and go when you go?
No,
No.
we'll reset it if we do, if we're there for more than a day.
But I mean, when you're done with the project,
We'll leave the
We'll
temporary
leave it
fencing
there until you're done. with-
until you want your permanent up.
you
That's not a big
promise
deal.
me?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we did that in, Linsway.
Yeah, we did in Linsway this
In fact, we
I don't
did
know
grab
how
a
I'm
couple
gonna
more.
contain these dogs
Yeah,
unless
but
I
We-
get partial fence and then I
Yeah, 'cause I
can
thought
put
they were
up
gonna
a
stay longer.
makeshift fence so they got this much to go in and go to the bathroom instead of the yard.
We will leave our temporary construction fence
Yeah, we got
if
tons
you
of
need it. Yeah.
construction,
That's not a big
we can do your whole property with it. And have the stakes, we got stakes, we'll just stake it and make sure that your dogs will stay in the yard. Until-
Promise me.
Yeah, until you get, we'll even put it a little farther, so you can be able to put your fence up, and then we'll just. come
Because
back and
at
take the
this
fence
point,
down.
I'm thinking, when I put the new one up, bring it all in a foot. Because God knows how many people have put fences up and down there and how many balls of
Yeah.
cement are in the ground. I mean, you know, I'd rather take my mower, my weed whacker, go around the whole fence thing and be done with it. You know, but my thought was that too, keep the junk up and then put the new fence and then take the junk down when the new fence is up.
Yeah, we can leave temporary fence, right?
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Okay, well, that was a big concern, because it's like, and how am I supposed to put this fence up at 64 in the dead of winter? I mean, I'm good, but I ain't that good. Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
He's a regular, you're fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to get here since March. Anybody been here since 2003?
No.
Okay,
No.
well, in 2003,
Name and address, please.
oh, name is Paul Castonguay, spelled Castonguay. My address is 9000 West, 130th Court. And my neighbor next door to the south that it affects, his name is Garth Quinn, and his address is 8989 130th Court. We're at the end of the court. Right in between us is your easement, and that is where the only drain, for the whole street is. And when it comes down from Dodge Street to the south, it's supposed to keep going, and it just turns the corner and comes right down our street. And that 6-inch clay drain that has been there since the 60s does not handle it. So we have to keep it from getting clogged. And when I was not able to do that, when I was paralyzed, it flooded my basement and his basement because the leaves got in there and everything. So what happens is it gets over the curb and just floods the whole front yard, both of our front yards. There is, oh, beautiful. Okay, there's the easement that runs between us. You can see the trees to the back of the house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was taken before last March, because one of those trees, a big 10-foot around oak tree that's healthy as heck, is fallen into the neighbor's other oak tree. And if it falls and hits his house, it's gonna pancake it. So it's on a pretty good angle, and there's only one branch holding it up. There was one a few years ago, that sand oak that snapped off and went through my roof. There, in 2013, something like that, you guys had a crawler come in, and dug up part of the pipe in front of the trees toward the east, toward the front of the house, and there was a hole in the drain pipe that eroded 6 feet up. And they had to dig it up, and they didn't have a saw to cut it out with, so I jumped in there with my concrete saw, cut it out for them so they could patch it, do spin. So there's been no problems with that. But the problem is, when they ran the videograph in 2003, there was 8-foot sections of pipe missing. Because I was there when they ran the video. That's back, way back when they still had it on video. On videotape, do you believe that? I was supposed to get a copy, but never did. But the problem is where that oak tree is all the roots have definitely cracked that pipe. But there's like 5 or 6 trees in there. They're very healthy, they get a lot of water. But there's a lot of undermining and washout in there, I'm pretty sure. I dealt with that on a railroad for a long time, 24 years. I was a derailment investigator. So I know my drainage, I know my maintenance away, I know my pitch. I just don't know underground, and there's no way you can dig under those pipes. I would assume you'd have some kind of epoxy sleeve go up it, if you could clear the roots out of it.
If it's a clay pipe and it's that bad shape,
Yeah.
you replace it. There's no
There's
hope.
a lot of trees involved.
Yeah.
That's okay, you drop the trees, I'll use them for firewood. I'll split them right up.
So, do you know when these houses were built? Were they,
I'd say mid-60s.
okay.
I think mine was 66, and then my garage was added in 77, and I added another garage 2 years ago.
Okay.
I had to join both of my pieces of property. I had a variance, I think you call it. And then take like an 85-foot oak tree down, and then they had to move my gas pipe. And I cannot walk on snow anymore and get out of the vehicle because I'm paralyzed on my left side. So I had to build a garage I could pull into. My handicap ramp is in my other garage. I can't get cars in there. And whenever the snowplows come down the street, I'm always out there with my Bobcat having fun, picking up the snow, because they push all the snow down the street, and then they come around the court, and it all ends up in my driveway and my neighbor's driveway. So he's 77 years old. So I take care of that for him. And otherwise I'm out there plowing with my 4-wheeler. I have more fun than any kid on the block. So whenever you guys could videograph that, there is a creek back there at the back of the property.
Yeah.
It's just off the easement from the Legion,
Yep.
a little bit to the east. It's right on the property line, and it's a county drainage thing that comes from up north. And, there's a creek that runs all the way through my property, and it runs through the neighbor's property, and the drain pipe dumps into that creek, so it's exposed. That's where they went in last time. It's to the west side of the property? Yeah, the west side.
Where's that end up? That creek?
Right by the Legion.
By the Legion.
It goes by Legion
Right by
and
the-
down
oh,
to.
No, I know where, I know
Right by the
where
parking
you're
lot
going.
there.
Where does it end up though?
It comes out right by the Legion parking lot.
What does
At
it go
the end of the
across?
parking lot,
130
maybe
all the way
30
to-
feet.
It does.
Does it go north or
There's
does it go
a culvert, there's a culvert
It goes south.
just west of
Okay, it goes
Washington.
under the road,
Yeah,
Right here.
Washington Street, I
yeah,
think it
it
is.
goes under
It
Washington.
goes under,
that, yeah.
and then
Yeah,
it
Meyer
turns
Manor
straight
system.
south. And you
Old
guys
Meyer
can see
Manor
a bunch of work down there.
Yeah,
But where the sign is,
yeah.
the
that's
Legion,
yeah.
that's where it all
A couple
goes.
years ago, yeah.
And our creeks flow good, I keep them clean.
Yeah, it's pretty
I've
defined.
even rented track excavators, to pull stuff out of it, 'cause the kids in the neighborhood love to build dams.
Tyler and I actually went and looked at this a month or two ago, and it is pretty bad. And he's got huge pitch coming down.
Yes,
his yard.
yes,
Very good
but I
point.
think it's 15
And,
feet.
Yeah, and it looks from, looking in the base, that catch basin and the curb, it looks tiny.
Yes, to handle all that water that comes from Dodge Street. It'd be different if just the water from the court came down there.
That's why,
But Dodge Street has been built up, so it's higher, so that it comes around the corner and just turns. It doesn't go down all the way to Lakeshore
that's
Drive.
why I was saying to you before, Don, that this might be something with, up here might be something
With Dodge and Schubert.
other, yeah, that might be more of a bigger project because of that. And we,
Can I leave you my phone number or something, so
Paul, what was your address again?
my address is 9,000 West 130th Court,
Okay.
and the drain is to the south side of my property.
Curious if we have any old plats on this.
And you guys replaced, okay, I don't know if I wanna say this correctly, the grate and the box underneath it, you replaced that about 15 years ago. So when I rake all the leaves apart, there's a power pole right next
Yeah.
to the drain.
There's a, yeah, it's.
And I have a screw in the power pole with a rake on it.
That's the only one on that.
So I can go out there and rake the leaves out of there, and when you rake it out of there, I mean, it's like a whirlpool going down. Because the water's all the way across the street to the, what do you call it, the island in the
Yeah,
middle of the street.
the little island they got in the middle, it's just.
I mean, that
Yeah.
totally floods. And there's nowhere for it to go. And, it gets into our basements, and my
Want
basement.
to add it to your list, your cameraing list?
Yeah.
And I'll see what I can dig
Oh,
out with
thank you.
Michelle. It's most likely.
You're usually there.
Yeah, I'm there, I'm not there on Mondays,
Okay.
and Wednesdays I go to school now, because I can't go to work ever again.
Because I think when Tyler and I went over there, you weren't home, but your neighbor lady, she was out, like she was.
She's always doing the.
Yeah, she was
she's
doing
always
a garage
doing
sale
flowers or
something, yeah,
something.
so, and she came out and talked to us about this. And then we walked farther down there.
Yeah,
there's a
if you
lot of-
come out there, if you go there, walk down the easement toward the creek,
Yeah,
and look at that one big, heavy oak tree just laying there. And it's healthy. It's not,
man.
and I'm glad it wasn't a sand oak with the, the oaks rot in the
Yeah.
middle,
You
because that thing would have broke right off. And he's got a brand new addition on the back of his house, man. I'm sure that the tree would easily hit his house, because the wind's always out of the west, so it would roll that way. I could see it happening. And my bobcat's not big enough to pick that tree up.
Yeah.
Do you need my phone number or anything?
No, that's fine, we'll just come over and
Okay,
then if we need you, we'll knock on the door and.
okay.
and come.
I'm kinda slow getting to
Oh,
this,
that's fine.
I'm in the wheelchair in the house.
Okay.
I'm always in the wheelchair.
Yeah, if we need you, we'll come and get you.
Okay, Abby will come out there.
I think I might have your number.
Okay,
I think you did, because he did call in, and then that's when Tyler.
I've been trying to,
I can find you.
yes, you can, look at it right there. Thank you guys for your time, I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks for maintaining the,
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Oh, well, you guys got a hard enough job as it is. I try to keep that drain clear
Thank
even when
you.
it freezes.
John, is Kevin online?
Yeah.
I will let you guys go, I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time.
Kevin, you're free to talk if you wanna unmute yourself.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Kevin, you there?
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
No, they push.
Hello? Hello?
Kevin?
Hello?
I would like to go back to
Yeah, I think.
budget though.
try now. Uh-oh.
Kevin? Yeah.
Here's something.
I think you're back on mute, Kevin. I didn't realize I wasn't on before. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm having problems there.
You're good, we can hear you now.
Okay, well, I just want to say, thanks for taking a look at that, I wanted to be there tonight, but I couldn't. But, just you had a couple questions there, our basement's been about 3 or 4 of these units
Okay.
in that yard. So that, I know the sump saw go out there too. And it is, if you look at it by the electric box, the picture you're looking at, kind of the pictures are not as good as you see actually. It is very, very low there, like it's almost missing a catch basin. So I don't know if you guys can come out, I'd appreciate it, if somebody could call me, I'd appreciate talking to you about it.
Yeah, I was gonna head out there with, Tim Kubiak when it stops raining.
Okay, I appreciate it, I just want to say thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
So, going back to new business, the budget that was is in front of you is the same one that was presented to the town council a week or two ago. With their budget as well as the other utilities, given that they're generally intricately tied to each other, it's my understanding that this is probably the first stormwater budget that we've had generally approved. Otherwise, we've kind of just been doing things as a cash in, cash out basis. So you'll see the 2022 budget estimated, and then our Sue Hayes, our budget specialist, went through and generally just kind of did an adjustment either for one-off things that were 2022 only, and or in the line item number 9, salaries and wages, adjustments that we're making out of this utility in order to provide some working capital for the utility for projects. One new item that you'll see on line 21, which would be probably Eric's big thing, is a annual ditch maintenance / improvement line item for these one-off public works projects that can be handled in-house, things like culvert, pipe, rock, stone, whatever it is they need to get a project done. That's kind of that line item. The important one for the board members generally will be down at line number 36. That is what we're expecting generally to be the 2023 operating budget for capital projects. Now, I just want to make sure to remind you, because I believe I made sure to mention this at the last budget, or the last meeting about the budget, this is a cash flow. So this will be what we can encapsulate through the entire year. So we're not going to have this in January.
Right.
This will be something we build over each month and accrue. So I would caution you, if you think that that is going to be the budget for capital projects, I would probably estimate that at 60 to 75% is what we will have to operate off of, because the remaining amount will be accumulated in the winter months when we can't utilize it. So I know Don had just mentioned we're going to kind of get together the list of projects, and I would say you probably have capacity for 2 to maybe 3, depending on the cost. So I would just take this, digest it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. It should be generally pretty straightforward.
I guess it would also be, a fool's errand, I guess, if you will, to say, you know, divide that 200, or that amount by 12. It's, the cash flow's not gonna be that per month, because you've got other
Correct.
waiting.
It fluctuates.
Yes, so, yeah, gotcha.
So that's why I said roughly estimate that at 60 to 75% is what you have available.
So,
Pushing closer to 2 products.
yeah, we wouldn't be undertaking projects until the spring anyway, right? I mean, until after the thaw, so you're looking May.
In the next meeting, we'll have a list with estimated costs with them as well.
And that won't, obviously, encompass that entire amount, but yeah.
Correct.
It would be a start.
So you could probably start one small to medium-sized project in May, and then wait until closer to the
July or
middle,
August, yeah. Yep.
middle to late summer to execute a second project. Again, it'll all depend on size and scope and what CPI is next year, because we're getting some ridiculous prices back. So what was quoted for projects this year or last year will not be the same.
Big unknown.
Quotes are good for a week nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
if not less.
When myself and the rest of the team kind of created the budget, and especially right around the time of the Ukraine-Russian war, we set a 15% CPI for the town. And I think the government, the feds, put it at like 8-something. I personally take that with a gigantic grain of salt and say we're probably really closer to,
I think you're saying 10, isn't it,
Yeah.
around 10?
yeah, and I would, it really depends on how you run the calculations, and every administration's gonna try and make it look a little better for themselves than
Yep.
the last, so. The real CPI is probably unknown, but we all feel it when we go to the grocery store. I mean, eggs are $3.50
Well,
a
yeah,
dozen, it's crazy.
exactly, and that's a blended rate, right? So
Yeah.
everything individually could be different, yeah.
The other thing too, there's really not much you can do on the revenue side of things outside of raising rates, so this budget is kind of just set as what it is. The best we can do is control costs, control projects, and conserve for maximizing our dollars.
What's the general collection rate of stormwater fees? Is it pretty strong?
I think it's pretty strong, because it's part of the utility billing,
Can't get
and as long
around
as people are paying their utility bills, we'll get it. So unlike some municipalities which puts their stormwater fees onto the tax rolls, and then it's divvied out every 6 months, we get to cash flow month by month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so also why there's a little more of a variability there. But with development comes more houses, comes more ERUs, slowly accumulating a larger budget.
So thanks for taking the initiative.
It's a good roadmap.
Because usually it's just, you don't hear about it until something bad happens, or so on. But yeah.
Well, you gentlemen are gonna be the ones who have to answer to the public and asking, why aren't things getting done? Now you have, and it's available to the public, it's on our website, you can see exactly what we approve for budget and what little we have to work with.
Yep.
$5 or $10 a month, whatever the ERU is, I believe it's $10 a month now, does not go very far. The other item that I would ask for today is, a couple of our other boards are migrating their start times to 6 o'clock. I would ask if this board was interested in doing the same. A lot of it's just because the town staff is a little taxed with the spread between when town hall ends and when meetings start. And I think starting a half hour early probably will not deter many people. Certainly hasn't deterred Mr. Broadhurst here, who comes all the way from Illinois to all of our meetings. I hope you don't mind. They're open to the public, and you are now a landowner in Cedar Lake.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
I don't have an issue if it's good with Don, Eric, and Wendy, and Chris.
I tried to move to 5:30 one time, yeah, I'm good with things.
That's fine.
Keep chipping away.
Yeah, it was 7, I'm getting it down.
Benji, you okay?
I'm good with it, yeah.
Okay,
Should we,
Would you like to-
should we formalize that with a motion?
yeah, if you would like to formalize that with a motion, and we could start in November.
Okay.
And since our one person here, so instead of 6:30, it'd be November 14th at 6.
Well, and as
If they
it
vote on
gets to
it.
be winter, don't think I'm not on this, but I can't drive after dark.
We do
So-
post all of our, we
Oh,
do
no, I
YouTube
don't
all of
do
our
that.
and all that.
Nothing to do that. I'm retired. I do not do that anymore.
Okay.
I'll walk here.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we change the start time for the Stormwater Board meetings to 6 PM, starting November 14th.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Ryan Eastwick,
Yes.
Patrick Collins,
Yes.
Benji Kitchener.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So when Lori calls questioning Monday at 6 o'clock, somebody tell her.
Real game user.
Different day, different time.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. See you next Monday, Monday the 14th of November at 6 PM. Thank you.